Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me thank you, Ms. Hill, and your staff for getting us to the point where we are finally analyzing and presenting to the American people the significant intelligence failures which occurred prior to September 11th. At this stage of the inquiry, much is already evident. First, the intelligence community said that it was at war with Osama bin Laden and had said so for 3 years prior to the attack of September 11th. Second, despite National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice's assertions to the contrary, the use of a plane as a terrorist weapon capable of causing mass casualties was neither ingenious nor novel, but rather a method of attack that the intelligence community knew that the terrorists were considering as early as the early and mid-90s. Third, there is much troubling evidence that information crucial to preventing attacks by al-Qaeda terrorists was not shared or acted upon by intelligence officials prior to September 11th. Those intelligence failures will haunt loved ones and their families and should also haunt us and motivate us to very strong and necessary reforms. Here's just a few examples that I'm summarizing from your report. In January of 2000, the U.S. intelligence community was alerted to a meeting of al-Qaeda members in Malaysia, including 2 of the eventual hijackers of American Airlines Flight 77. The handoff of that information from the CIA to the FBI was bungled. The individuals were not tracked and inexplicably were not promptly placed on a watch list. 10 days later, the 2 accomplices entered the United States on a flight to Los Angeles. The location of the individuals after they were finally placed on the watch list was also mishandled. Second, a July 10, 2001 memorandum from an FBI field agent in Phoenix to the Osama bin Laden unit and the radical fundamentalist unit at FBI headquarters requesting that an investigation be opened into foreign terrorist training at flight schools in the U.S. was never acted upon, nor was the Phoenix field investigation shared with the CIA as specifically suggested by the FBI agent. And this is not in your memo, but this is what we learned, that nearly a year after the Phoenix memo, the FBI director was unable to explain to our committee who saw that request from the Phoenix FBI agent, what was done with the request, and who, if anyone, had been held accountable for letting that important information fall between some crack. Third, the August 16, 2001 arrest of Zacarias Moussaoui and the suspicions of the FBI agents in Minneapolis that he might be planning to undertake a terrorist attack using a plane, and the urgent request that a warrant to search his computer and other belongings were not acted upon by FBI headquarters. And I want to emphasize a point here. These were not some reports from unreliable sources. These were not unconfirmed statements. These were FBI agents that were asking for action. Their requests were ignored. Now, I believe it is critically important for the administration to release the Phoenix memorandum, documents relating to the Minneapolis FBI office request, and other documents that will allow the American people to judge for themselves the significance of these missed signals and the failures to share information between and within the intelligence and law enforcement communities. The committee, I understand, has asked for declassification of those documents. That request is under consideration, I understand, by the administration in preparation for next week's hearings. And we've had discussion about this already this morning, but I do hope that the leadership of these committees, our committees, will let the administration know that our committees will seek congressional authorization by legislation if necessary, to declassify appropriate information if the executive branch refuses. We have chairman and vice chairman of our committees who've agreed on some matters. It seems to me that is enough for us as committees to automatically authorize them to seek legislation should the executive branch refuse. And that would go to future refusals, not just the previous ones. The American people understand that perfection is unattainable, but they also believe, as I do, that when errors are made, accountability is essential if lessons are to be learned for the sake of the future security of our nation. Now, is my time up?